So Donald Trump claims he's looking for a way out of the Iran war. I'm curious what Bassem thinks about that and if he thinks that one is genuine or not. But he's apparently gotten desperate enough that he's taking nukes off the table, which is a bit shocking. So let me read that to you, Bassem, and then get your reaction. According to the Wall Street Journal, for weeks, President Trump had been laying the groundwork to declare victory in the Iran war should Tehran fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz, even floating the idea privately to senior aides that he's willing to walk away without a nuclear deal, US officials said. On the nuclear concerns, Trump has told senior aides privately in recent weeks that Tehran is likely unable to revive its nuclear work during his presidency after the US destroyed 3 primary nuclear sites last year, the officials added. And then over the weekend, he seemed to also tone it down more on the aggressive threats against Iran. He said, we are low-keying it. We are only semi-negotiating with them. I don't know what that means, and of course it doesn't mean anything because we're not negotiating with them at all. We're just watching Iran with its huge inflation and the fact that they have no money, he said. Okay, so Bassem, couple of angles here. Number one, it looks like Trump has realized we have no chance of winning this war, right? So he claimed that this was to make sure that they don't have any kind of nuclear weapons program, and now he's saying, don't worry about it. Who cares about their nuclear weapons program? Does that show some sign of desperation, or do you think that this is all still a trick and no, he's about to put in ground troops and he's lying about all that?
I don't know, man. We've been through this now for the past, I don't know how many. Like Trump say like a horrible statement like we're gonna end civilization, and then the market share the market goes down, and then there's some insider trading, and then he said like okay, we're good now, and then there's the market goes up, and then there's insider trading. I don't know. I don't know if we should take Trump seriously about anything he takes, because I don't trust him. I don't believe him. I don't know what he say next week. He's been making us guess what will be his next move, and we never guess it because he just like he flip-flops, he changes. I don't know if he's in this war for his personal gain, so him and Kushner can just like buy and sell shares on the stock market that goes up and down. Now he's offering like early access to his Truth media socials for $100,000 in order to get an insider information. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know if he's gonna say this and then by tonight he's gonna bomb Iran with everything he's got. So I really don't know. You have a president that is unpredictable, that he has been using this confusion in the world about the war in order for his own personal gains. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you even like take anything that he says seriously anymore?
Yeah, my sense of it, Bassem, is nuanced and complicated because. So if he's saying to the Wall Street Journal publicly, in essence, through the leaks, right, that, hey, maybe we take nukes off the table. He said that was the reason we're going in. That's a giant concession. That's Trump, whether it's to the markets or anyone else, basically the Trump team saying, we got to get out of there. And we're going to even take our #1 objective off the table. Just get back to the status quo before the war where the Strait of Hormuz is open. And let's get the hell out of there, right? So you don't say that unless either it's a giant trick and you're about to bomb again, which is entirely possible, or you really are worried about getting the hell out of there. And in fact, now Alexander Ward from the Wall Street Journal reporting, a White House official insisted that the US completed all of its military objectives against Iran. Now that's absurd, that's not true at all, but I'll take it if they declared that and then said, okay, we've got to deal with Iran and we're not ending their nuclear program, we're just leaving. I don't care, they never had a nuclear weapons program. But then a second problem comes up though, just as Trump is conceding on these, Iran puts out a whole new set of demands and they want to A, permanently end the war, B, lift the naval blockade, C, withdraw all forces, and then cease any military action against Iranian proxies, fully compensate Iran for war damages, lift all sanctions, and release all Iranian frozen funds. Now, if that's true, that's gonna make it much harder to get to a deal. Number one, Israel's never gonna withdraw from Lebanon or Gaza, so that there goes that. We'd have to cut them out of the deal. Of course, we should cut them out of the deal. We'll never get a deal with those warmongers if we need permission from them, that's impossible, right? But they're saying, hey, compensate us for all the places you bombed. America's very unlikely to do that. Leave the region entirely. That'd be great for America, but we're less likely to do that. So now it looks like Iran doesn't necessarily want to end the war. How devastating is that?
Well, I mean, maybe Trump doesn't want the Strait of Hormuz open.
Picture this, it's 1 a.m., you tell yourself just one more scroll through social media, and suddenly you're spiraling over the latest political dumpster fire. That spiral doesn't just exhaust your mind, it actually spikes your internal body temperature. And when your body stays hot, you can never hit that deep restorative sleep. So the fix? It's not a meditation app, it's your bed temperature. Enter ChiliPad 2.0. It's a water-based mattress topper that gives you total climate control from 55 to 115 degrees. No new mattress, no hassle. It fits right on top, and water is the game changer. A fan just stirs hot air around. ChiliPad uses actively chilled water to pull heat away from your body like a heat exchanger. The new 2.0 has a quieter dock, a washable cover, and a remote that senses when you climb in and fires up your sleep schedule automatically. Sharing the bed? Dual zones let each side pick their own temperature. No subscription, no hidden fees, 2-year warranty, made right here in the USA. Visit www.sleep.me/TYT to get up to $255 off your ChiliPad 2.0 with code TYT. That's www.sleep.me/TYT. Free shipping, free returns, and a 30-night trial. The headlines will still be there in the morning. You might as well wake up ready for them.
Maybe this is all by design in order to destroy the Middle East and make Iran and Saudi Arabia and the other Arab countries just fight each other. I mean, look at the Nord Stream that was destroyed between Russia and Europe. That led to America supplying Europe with 5 times with an oil that's 5 times more expensive than the cheap Russian oil and gas. Remember that? And now maybe they don't care. Maybe they just want to have this bit of the war, just like destroy each other, and then America will be the supplier of oil to the world. I don't know. I think all of these tricks that Trump is playing, maybe he's just like doing it with a different logic than ours. Maybe he doesn't care about the war ends or not. Maybe he doesn't care about the Strait of Hormuz open or not. Because for him, oil, like he can be the supplier of oil instead of Saudi Arabia. Maybe he doesn't really care about Saudi Arabia. Maybe he doesn't care about UAE. Maybe him and Israel just want them to just destroy each other, like them and Iran, like the same way that Russia and Ukraine is doing. So maybe this is much more evil than we think. And I know that this is not politically sane or anything, but we've seen the signs on the wall, right?
Yeah. No, I actually think that your theory is a very good one, but I think that it's mainly about Israel. And so I'll get to my nuanced theory in a second about Trump. But when it comes to Israel, yeah, they want us to use their new Leviathan field, which is, and they've said it. They're like, oh, and to your point, it's not just that they want Iran's oil and gas facilities to be destroyed. Israel's very happy if the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, et cetera, their fields are also destroyed, because Netanyahu has said now you'll have to use Leviathan. Plus, there's a gas field off of Lebanese waters that Israel is now laying claim to, because they are saying southern Lebanon is now part of Israel. We've already annexed it basically, and they're looking forward to a pipeline that goes through Israel and would circumvent the Strait of Hormuz. So Israel has plenty of reasons to not only try to get us to destroy Iran, but to destroy our allies in the Gulf at the same time. So this war is perfect for them. That's why they don't want peace at all. They're like, destroy everyone in the Middle East but us, and spend all of your defensive missiles on us. But for our purposes, no, we're beginning to have issues with our petroleum oil reserve. We have issues with our economy, with inflation. So in fact, US emergency oil reserve is now below 300 million barrels for the first time since 1983. Before the US and Israel launched their attacks on Iran on February 28th, the reserve held approximately 415 million barrels. So we're way down now. And so my theory, Bassem, is that Israel 100% wants this, pushed us into this, and that, yeah, sure, the Adelsons alone gave over $300 million to Donald Trump, and that certainly affected him in many of his decisions. And they surround Trump with a bunch of warmongers, both in the White House that serve Israel, like Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and Ratcliffe in the intelligence, etc. All Israel first. Turns on television, all Israel first. We can go to a clip on that in it if we want to, but you guys all know it. They're all pushing for war, right? They've surrounded them in a bubble of, oh, you'll be amazing if you declare war. But I think that all of that is still not enough to punch yourself in the face this hard and wind up at a 32% approval rating, even portions of MAGA hating you. He's lost all independents, all young people. He's now losing people without a college education that was his strongest demographic. He's losing white people, he's losing males, he's losing everything. So I don't think Trump is doing that on purpose. I think they have blackmail over him. And I think every time he goes, come on guys, this is too unreasonable. We're gonna destroy America completely. We're gonna destroy our economy. We don't even have defensive missiles left. We're gonna lose our ships. You gotta let me out of this headlock. And Netanyahu goes, shut up, servant boy. You want us to release the tapes? And he goes right back to doing whatever they demand. What do you think of that?
But other than the blackmail, I mean, America has a history of screwing up its allies. I mean, wasn't it Henry Kissinger that said it would be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is deadly or fatal? And I think he said that in a call with Buckley. It's about like how America kind of gave up on its allies in Vietnam. It is, and I think America doesn't really care about its allies, whether it's the Middle East or otherwise. And I think the whole idea about like them being like. I think that Trump has no problem. Forget about Israel, forget about them being servants for Israelis and blackmail. But I think America just goes out after its own interests, and they don't really care about any of its allies. And actually, I think they get screwed over and over many times. We've seen America screwing Europe many times, and why would they do that to their allies in the Middle East?
Yeah, so Bassem, that has a huge asterisk, right? So the idea that America would care about its Arab allies is hilarious. Of course they don't care, but they don't care about the European allies. Trump is constantly attacking Canada and Greenland and Mexico. But there is one ally that is above the law and above everything, right?
How dare you call them an ally? They are our masters.
I mean, look, guys, if you think what Bassem is saying is over the top or crazy, okay, why do we only listen to one so-called ally? We betray every other ally with no compunction at all. But when it comes to Israel, we do every single thing we're ordered, even at great cost to our country. That's mental. And here, last thing here, Bassem. Let me show the audience and you a clip of what is going on in television. Because if you're watching online news, you might not realize how crazed cable news is and how they're constantly saying war, war for Israel, of course. And they all bow, so watch this.
The demands that they made yesterday, none of which we're going to adhere to leave the region, to pay reparations for the war. None of this stuff is going to happen.
The Israelis want to defeat the regime. They want to defeat the enemy because they know that's the only way. We've chosen not to hit key targets that would likely cripple not just the Iranian economy generally, but create a dire circumstance for the regime itself. And that includes most notably Karg Island, as I've been talking about. 85 to 90% of all of Iran's oil transport through Karg Island. It is a wide open target.
President Trump has all the options in his hands. He can take big military action anytime he wants to shut these guys down. He can do it over a period of days. He can do it in less time than that. He has huge options. He's very much aware of all of that. And we'll see what takes place. I do believe in my own mind that the only way that Iran will meet our demands is we have to force them.
Bassem, huge coincidence, right? That everybody on TV supports Israel's war, and everyone in Congress who got paid by Israel also supports Israel's war, and all of our presidents who all have their #1 lifetime donor as the Israeli lobby also support Israel's war. I'm told by mainstream media that that's a giant coincidence.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they don't seem to be pushed or paid or I mean, it is just like comical, and it reminds me with the kind of propaganda that I used to see in the Middle East. But they just like have better production value, better lights, and better suits. I have to say, much more expensive suits. But otherwise, it's the same thing. I imagine these people are getting the phone call from Tel Aviv. I don't think they even have the phone calls anymore. I think they're like spineless by nature, and I think they go in, but it is the how everybody's synchronized, like a little symphony. They go in, it's like and they speak. And I love these videos where they take the same exact word and the same exact sentences. Remember at the beginning of the war, this like famous clip that went around. There's like a short-term pain, long-term gains. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? That was like I love that clip. It seems that like they just sent everybody the script and they forgot to change them for each one, so it doesn't look as if it was like a copycat. But it is like how the chorus goes on, and it's interesting how so many Americans still fall for that. You know how we say that people are changing. I think we're just giving people here too much credit. I think there's the vast majority of Americans still don't see. You have 25% of Americans, the evangelical church that has completely brainwashed them, and they are completely controlled from Israel. You have 25% of the public. They look at this from a completely religious point of view, and they don't see it. And they have a lot of people who just is brown people and Arabs and Muslims who say, yeah, I don't care, as long as we hit them. So it's just like. These people have so many, the Fox News and CNN and all of these people have so much reach, and people are listening to them. And I don't know if that will ever change.
Yeah, look, the people that watch TV, they get brainwashed by this stuff, and they don't realize that there's an alternate story. They genuinely, they're like, that's the news to them, right? And the news is that Israel is great, all the Arabs and Muslims need to be killed, and Israel needs to take their land, and we need to do it for them. We need to, use our entire military and all of our money and our budget, and if we don't, we're all anti-Semites. And so, and if that's what you hear at church and that's what you hear on cable news, and you never heard anything else, you might believe that. But the more people are hearing other factors, the more that they're beginning to open their eyes, and the more they're beginning to realize that these guys on television have been actively trying to deceive them on behalf of a foreign nation, and the anger and the rebellion builds. So every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.